Hello, and welcome to the lifestyle segment of Women to Watch. I'm Sherry Morrison. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Chef Amy Edelman, chef and owner of the Night Kitchen Bakery and Cafe. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. Amy, before we get into all of the stories about your wonderful baked goods, if you could please tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I grew up in the Mount Airy section of Philadelphia near our bakery, the Night Kitchen Bakery, which is in Chestnut Hill. And I went to the Philadelphia High School for Girls. After that, I was on a one-year waiting list to get into the Culinary Institute of America, our alma mater, and went there for 2 years and traveled around quite a bit after that.
What a great school. I was there a few years before you, I think 6 or 7, and I absolutely loved it. So after you graduated from CIA, also known as the Culinary Institute of America, you moved around and spent some time in Florida, New York, and you're at Disney, and then you headed back to the Philadelphia area. What brought you back to Philly?
I think I had a better appreciation of Philadelphia after I traveled around a bit and traveled around the world a bit, saw other neighborhoods and lived in other places. I also missed my family. My mom lived here. I had a lot of friends here. So after traveling around for about 7 years, I returned to Philadelphia and haven't left.
I understand completely. I think I've been here forever. It's a tough place to leave. And it seems like the relationships that you build over your lifetime are pretty strong. And I don't know that it's just a Philly thing or if it's all over the country, but to me, it seems like a Philly thing. You worked in a number of some of Philly's favorite restaurants. Who inspired you over the years? Who do you think really like pushed you into this business that you're in?
Well, when I was in high school, I worked for friends of the family who had a little restaurant in Chestnut Hill called the Spice Shop. And I started out as a bus girl, but they allowed me to work in the kitchen one summer, and I took to it. I loved it. My grandmother did a lot of cooking. My mother always cooked from scratch. I always thought that everyone's parents cooked from scratch and that they had home cooked meals every night, but apparently that wasn't the case. But I loved that experience working in the kitchen at the Spice Shop, and that's when I decided to apply for the Culinary Institute of America.
Yeah. And then you started your own catering business, Culinary Creations, and the Crefeld, a private school in Chestnut Hill, made you an offer you couldn't refuse. What did you do with them?
Right. So when I came back from France, I came back to the area near my mom and got a restaurant job. And after about 3 years at that job at Polo Rosso Restaurant, I was given the opportunity to use a kitchen at the Crefeld School, which is a small private school in Chestnut Hill. And as long as I provided lunches for the kids in the school, I was able to use their kitchen for my catering business. So it was an excellent opportunity that I couldn't pass up. And I ran that business for about 5 years.
Yeah, I had a very similar situation. Our paths, when we were going through our stories and the path that we've taken, we've had a lot of very similar experiences, which was really nice for me, and I'm sure nice for you that people are so willing to help new business owners start out. So after you had the Culinary Creations, you decided to sell that to your partner. And in 2000, you purchased the Night Kitchen, which was just a bakery at a time. Is that correct?
That's right. The Night Kitchen Bakery was just a tiny little place with a really strong customer base, and it had been here for 15 years. The original owners were two women who made recipes from Gourmet Magazine. And so when I purchased the bakery from them in 2000, I was buying the recipes and the reputation and the really strong customer base.
That was a nice thing to purchase, and what a great neighborhood. So there were some new trends with baking, with fondant, especially a few years back. What sets the Night Kitchen Bakery apart from all of those or most bakeries that you see anywhere?
So when I bought the bakery in 2000, they had a very small repertoire of cakes and other sweets like bars and cookies and tarts. And we increased the repertoire. We increased the number of cakes and selection that we had. And we also started working with fondant icing, which back in 2000, no one really knew about. Ace of Cakes had just started on TV Food Network, so people were beginning to understand what was happening in the pastry world and the cake decorating world. But it was after that that we started introducing that to our customers. And after Ace of Cakes on TV Food Network came the Cake Boss, and the popularity of fondant and custom cakes really grew to the point where we were able to expand the bakery.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with a fondant, and we'll get to that in a minute. Is the cafe that you added just baked goods and beverages, or do you offer other food items?
So about 10 years after owning the bakery, my husband and I decided to expand the business. He was baking with us and came on full time after a couple of years of my owning the bakery by myself. And we decided to expand into the other half of the twin building and add a cafe with some tables out front. And we began making soups, sandwiches, salads, quiche. So we offer that as well as all of the pastry items that we had previously.
And I've seen and tasted quite a few of your food items and your cakes and baked goods. They've all been outstanding. You were named Best of Philly for your double fudge brownies, and Wedding Wire for your cakes, and a winner in the Let Them Eat Cake competition for the best design and best tasting cake. You are very well known for your specialty cakes. What are your top varieties?
So for the cakes that people come in to the bakery for every single day, we have three favorites. One is our mocha chocolate cake, which is like a devil's food cake. It's very much chocolate is the predominant flavor. It's very moist. The second most popular cake is my personal favorite, which I always joke that it was the reason I bought the bakery. It's a yellow cake with lemon curd and cream cheese frosting. My mother got it for me for my 30th birthday before I bought the bakery. I thought about that cake all the time. And the third most popular is the carrot cake, which is also covered in cream cheese frosting, and it's super moist. But we're also really well known for the custom cakes that we make using the fondant icing.
So funny because I just helped with an event, a baby shower, and they had all three of those cakes. So it's really funny that they picked the three top favorites, and they were delicious. I tried each and every one of them. Please tell us a little bit about your menu and some of your specialties. I know the gluten-free market is huge right now and has been for a number of years. Do you have or create any dietary specialties like a gluten-free baked goods, and what's the most popular, do you think?
We do have quite a number of gluten-free items. We make a couple of cookies with almond flour and coconut, a coconut macaroon. We also make a gluten-free flourless chocolate cake, which is extremely popular with people who love chocolate, whether they're gluten-free or not, or flour intolerant or not. We also make some savory items that are vegetarian and occasionally a vegan item as well for our savory foods, like a soup or a sandwich.
Well, you through all of these wonderful items, you've met some very exciting people and designed some fabulous cakes for big events. A few of these have some great examples of what you can do with fondant. Tell us a little bit about some of the most creative, exciting, and memorable cakes and experiences you've had.
So we recently created a cake that was a standing football cake for Angelo Cataldi, who just retired from WIP Sports Radio. And before that, we created cakes for Patti LaBelle. We were commissioned by Adam Sandler's wife to make a carrot cake for him for his 55th birthday when he was filming in Philadelphia a couple of years ago. And my very favorite cake was a cake that we were commissioned to make by Steve Lukather's chef. He wanted a cake that was in the shape of a guitar, his guitar, and the cake that Chef Jackie created was the exact replica of his guitar. And my husband and I, delivered the cake to the Met and presented the cake to Steve, who is the founding member of Toto. And he was so excited when he saw the cake. He hugged both of us, and then they ask us to stay and sing happy birthday to him on stage with the pre-show crowd. And that was one of the most fun and exciting moments I've ever had at the Night Kitchen.
Oh, I bet that gives me chills. And I saw the video. He just looked so excited about it, and he couldn't stop taking a video of the cake as he was looking at it. And you've, over the years, aside from the cakes and the bakery and your business, you've done a lot of work to your business to become more sustainable and help serve the community in the very best way. What are some of the things that you've done and enjoyed doing for the community?
So whenever we have the opportunity to give back to the community, we do. So, for example, I sit on the board of the Chestnut Hill Business Association and the Business Improvement District, also the Green Initiative Committee, in which we look for areas in Chestnut Hill that we can add trees to the tree canopy, and also identify spaces that we can green and create little pocket parks.
Being a part of the community is huge, and I know that you do a great job, because that's actually how I initially heard about you, was through the Chestnut Hill grapevine. So you do wonderful work. I'm afraid we're out of time. Thank you for sharing your story and your culinary talents. Hope you'll come back and join us sometime again.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Sure. For more information about Chef Amy and the Night Kitchen Bakery and Cafe, their menus, placing orders, and specialties to go to www.nightkitchenbakery.com or stop in. They're open 7 days. Thank you again. Sue will be right back to close out the show. Ladies, keep living your dreams.